Guys, welcome to your Dine at Home cook along video. Thank you to everyone who has purchased a box. As always, every week we are a sellout for the second week in a row, which is incredible. We had a little lull and then we've seemed to be comeback fighting, which is amazing. And this week is, I'm really happy this one sold out actually. It's a superb menu. Again, ingredients wise, got some lovely ingredients. None more so than the main course, which is the 10-ounce pork chop from Woolly Park Farm. Absolutely stunning. Done a lovely sage onion butter, which couldn't be more simpler for you to prepare at home. Before we get to that, we are going to continue with our video, cook along video, and we will start off with the legendary Dine at Home bread, which is the tear and share style. But this is another mixed seeded loaf, so we use a grain flour, and then we put some sunflower seeds in there as well. Roast those first, toast them, and then put those through the bread mix, which is just absolutely delicious. And obviously we bake that, so that's literally ready for you to pop into the oven for 5 to 6 minutes at 180 degrees, and it'll come out, it'll be nice and crispy on the outside, and when you tear it, all the steam will come out, it'll be absolutely delicious. And to pair with that, as always, a delicious whipped Marmite butter. Leave that out at room temperature. Obviously it's a little bit cool at the moment, so please make sure that's in a nice sort of room temperature to warm place, so it softens beautifully for your bread. Okay, on to the starter, which is a delicious sort of barbecued chicken thigh fritter, which we've brined the chicken thighs, and then we've barbecued them, and then we've cooked them, the majority of them in the water bath, so it starts to break down, because nice and soft, so the texture that should be really soft. But then reduce that liquor down and bound that back through. It's got a real sort of distinctive sweet sort of honey sort of barbecue flavour, and then we've paneed that in a beautiful obviously panko breadcrumbs, and that is literally ready for you to put straight into the oven. So it's 180 degrees, and it'll probably take about, I think in the instructions, about 8 minutes, 6 to 10 minutes, say, depending on how hot your oven is. It should all be 180, but every oven's different. But just make sure, do the old knife in the middle test onto your lip. If it's piping hot, then that's perfect. If it's not, please make sure you reheat that, because this is a pre-cooked product, so when you reheat it, you need to ensure that it's nice and hot. And equally, again, we've sort of made it so it's quite liquidy. So if any liquid seeps out, don't worry about it at all. It probably won't go completely crisp back, because it's quite moisture, quite heavy in moisture, but the flavour is incredible, so that will surpass anything. But yeah, pop that straight into your oven, 180 for around about 6 to 10 minutes, depending on heat. Okay, so this is your beautiful ratte potatoes. You'll notice it's got a slight sort of yellow tinge to them. We've left the skins on because we think they're absolutely delicious. Put a bit of fresh parsley in there and nothing else. So they will require a little bit of seasoning, and also the pickled shallots to go with that salad as well. I'd recommend mixing them together, but equally you can leave them separate and plate it all individually. It all goes down the same way, so you've got nothing to worry about. And then you've got a beautiful locally picked wild garlic mayonnaise. So the wild garlic is from Longdon, as always. And we've just made a wild garlic oil, and then basically made a very standard mayonnaise with that. And it's again, the colour is phenomenal, and the flavour is delicious as well. And then just to add a little bit of texture, which is potentially lost with the fritter, we've got some beautiful crispy caramelised onions as well. For the vegetarian, the garnish is exactly the same. You just have some grilled New Farm asparagus, which is literally just from the back behind me, some beautiful green asparagus that I would simply recommend. It's been griddled but hasn't been fully cooked, so I simply recommend just popping a little bit of butter on top of that asparagus onto a small baking tray, pop it in the oven, 4 to 5 minutes will be absolutely fine. So I'm going to pop my fritter in the oven for 8 minutes. Join me in 8 minutes and we'll go through plating. Okay guys, so my timer's just gone on for the fritter, so I'll just get that out, and then we'll go through the plating. Now on the instructions, if you just pan down, I'll show you. On the instructions, I did say that some excess oil will come off your fritter, and that's exactly what's happened. So obviously when we deep fry them to sear that sort of crust, obviously it holds like the little panko breadcrumbs are a bit like sort of sponges, so it will obviously just bleed out a little bit. So that's, again, as I said to you previously, it's super soft. So then with the oil, I'll just dab that onto a cloth. I've used a J cloth, but again, you can use some kitchen towels, absolutely fine. Please be careful, because that tray is obviously made hot. As you can see, I've put a little bit of greaseproof paper underneath as well, which I think is quite essential for anything like that as well, because it'll end up sticking. So again, I've just literally pat that dry, but as I can see, I'm being so delicate, because I mean, you can probably see me doing it. It is super soft, guys, so just please be careful with how you handle that. In here, I've just got the salad, so I've actually taken all the sort of shallot rings and separated all those with obviously the beautiful potato and the parsley. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, use more than sea salt. You can use table salt or more than if you like to. This is extra virgin olive oil. Use a single estate one from Spain. Always use quality olive oil. Don't be too shy with that actually as well, because it'll be a delicious flavour. Add a bit of pepper if you would like to, white or dark or black, you know, totally up to you. I'm just going to leave it. This is a double portion of potatoes, so it's quite healthy, so I'm not going to use all these potatoes because it's not a potato dish. It's a chicken fritter. And then the rest of the garnish is, you've still got the beautiful vibrant wild garlic mayonnaise, and then your crispy onions, because again this is the exact same garnish for both vegetarian and the normal menu as well. Okay, so for plating, again this is again, the whole essence of Dine at Home is that you do it yourself, but don't go too big on the plate so it gets lost. It's a nice size fritter. And then with the potatoes, so make sure they're all covered in that beautiful parsley and shallot, and then just sort of naturally but evenly just pop them all out, add a little bit of height, and pick out those beautiful shallot rings. That's the pickle that it sort of needs. The dish as a whole sort of needs that. Just like that. There, I've left 3 potatoes back there. And then with your beautiful vibrant wild garlic, it's nice and thick like a normal mayo, so you'll get a real nice spoon. That'll go really well with chicken. That just on the side sits up beautifully. And then finally, the crispy onions, which again, I'm just going to cover this up, it's only because they don't go flying everywhere. It's just to add that little texture that you sort of, as I said previously, you sort of lose with the with rebaking the fritter. And there we are guys, that is your finished starter for this week's Dine at Home. A beautiful barbecue chicken fritter with your ratte potato, pickled shallot and parsley salad, and your wild garlic, local wild garlic mayonnaise, and finally your beautiful crispy caramelised onions. That will taste delicious, I guarantee you. Join me after that starter for your main course. Okay guys, so hopefully you enjoyed your starter, your chicken and your asparagus. Onto your main course. We'll go through the whole dish first for the meat eaters, then we'll just touch on the vegetarian after that. So for your main course, as promised, a beautiful 10-ounce piece of Woolly Park Farm barbecued pork chop, which I've tried to barbecue the sort of skin side as much as possible. You're never going to get that sort of crackling that you'd essentially get if you were to obviously roast this whole. That'll take about 40 to 50 minutes to obviously crispen up beautifully. But equally, adding that little bit of barbecueness to it will taste delicious. But again, just cut that off if that texture isn't for you. But the main goal is the beautiful meat itself, which I've literally just scorched on the barbecue, and a beautiful sage and onion butter that's in there as well. Keep that in the fridge because essentially you're going to bake it just like that, which I'm going to show you in a second anyway. That's all together. And we brined it as well, so there's no need for seasoning at all. But if you would like to add more seasoning, obviously you can do. Okay, so the garnish itself, you have a lovely caramelised roasted onion that's been done in pork fat. The ones for the vegetarian have been done in just vegetable oil. Then you also have some delicious sort of char-grilled purple sprouting broccoli. I'm super quick with this because obviously it's so small, it will just cook within an instant. So yeah, it's on the char griller. About 30 to 60 seconds, that's it. So guys, depending on how much you want it roasted even further, 4 minutes in the oven's fine. If you want it roasting a bit further, go 6, go 8. Just be careful, you don't want it to obviously disintegrate and just go to nothing, or equally dry out to nothing. So I'll leave that to you. I'll put on the instructions, I think 4 to 6 minutes, but I think 3 to 4 minutes is perfect. A beautiful white onion puree, which we just burn-wise at the butter slightly, and then we add the white onion. So again, it's a lot more of a pure sort of white onion puree. But the onion and pork go so well together. And you got a delicious salsa verde. We've actually used some of the wild garlic instead of fresh garlic in this, but its majority is parsley, mint, and a little bit of basil in there as well, with some Dijon mustard and some Chardonnay vinegar, just to give it a nice little kick. And then some delicious pork sauce as well, which is, again, we make the sauces all the same here. And it's absolutely delicious, the pork bones. So the addition to this for the vegetarians, to replace the pork and the pork sauce, the beautiful char-grilled courgettes, which we've marinated in the wild garlic harissa and white sesame seeds. This is delicious. We've literally just char-grilled it both sides. So you simply cut the vat pack back open, pop them onto a tray as they are, get all that sort of marinade out, straight into the oven to roast up. Be about 10 to 12 minutes to get a nice roast on there, and that will be absolutely delicious. And then you've got a tahini and lime dressing. As you can see, it's just started to split. Just make sure you give a good whisk or a good stir, that'll come back. And then I'd concentrate on actually saucing just your courgettes with that. They'll go so well on the plate. Just get a nice spoonful, there's loads there, give it a good mix, spoon it all over your courgette, and that sort of white sesame and lime sauce with your courgettes will just go absolutely incredible. Okay, so this is going to take about 12 to 15 minutes. Make sure it's out of the fridge. It's been out of the fridge for about an hour now, so this is just perfect in the centre. I quite like my pork, I'm not going to say pink because I don't like it pink, I like it sort of slightly opaque, a little pearlescent sort of flavour in the centre, a visual in the centre, so the colour. But if you like it a little bit more well done, go for 15 to 16 minutes. It'll be absolutely fine, but it always needs a rest, as we always say. So very simply, but equally very carefully, just slice the bag open, just like that. Take it out, just like that. Obviously the butter's still quite firm. That will obviously, just like that, go straight onto your tray, and that's going to go straight in the oven for literally 12 minutes. Okay, I'm going to put that in. When there's about 4 to 6 minutes remaining, I'll then put my onion and broccoli in on a separate tray, or the same tray, doesn't matter, to then completely reheat. At that time, I'll take it all out and I'll let it rest on the side for about 3 to 4 minutes. Join me when I take it out and I'll go through the reheating of the other elements. Okay, so see you in about 12 minutes. Okay guys, so 6 minutes has gone on my pork. So I'm just going to pop this onion in for 2 minutes. After the 2 minutes, I'm going to put the broccoli in with the onion and the pork for 4 minutes. Okay, so join me in 6 and I'll pull the whole tray out. See you in a bit. Okay guys, so my second 6 minute timer has just gone off. So it's 12 minutes. 12 minutes for the pork, 6 minutes for the onion, and 4 minutes for the broccoli. Okay, so I'm just going to get it out now to show you exactly what it will look like. Sizzling away. And there we are. You see that? So there is your beautiful sage onion butter that's literally just, well, it's just literally melted on top of the sage and the onions all stayed. Some beautiful roasted broccoli that's just started to, you can see the colour on the other side beautifully. And there's your beautiful pork fat onion as well. So if you're at home, guys, you want to rest that for around about sort of four minutes. When you touch it, you want it to sort of spring back like a steak. Okay, so just like a steak, but obviously more of a medium to medium well steak as opposed to a rare one. The skin, yeah, it hasn't gone too crispy, but it has started to roast up nicely on the side. So again, that is more than enjoyable if you would obviously like to enjoy that. If not, it's only thin, so you can quite easily cut around it. So I'm going to leave that for 2 to 3 minutes. While I leave that to rest, I'm just going to heat my white onion puree in the microwave for 30 to 45 seconds. My sauce is already on a pan in the back. That shouldn't be heated any time before now. Tick it over very gently, just so it starts to melt and starts to sort of simmer. That's it. Don't boil it and rapidly reduce it. Just simmer it. And then you've got your beautiful salsa verde that's just at room temperature, ready to play as well. So join me in 3 to 4 minutes. When I've rested that, that'll be heated. As will your sauce. Okay, so join us in 4 minutes. Okay, so onion puree is heated, salsa verde is ready to go, pork's beautifully rested, as is the broccoli and the onion. Just feel that if the broccoli and onion's a little bit sort of cooler for you, just back in the oven for 1 extra minute or 2 minutes just to get it heated back through. But personally, I think it's at a nice eating temperature. The sauce is going to be nice and hot, so you can sauce the vegetables as well, just to regen the heat. But again, other than that, we're ready to go. So the broccoli, the sauce, sorry, just on the back and heat it in the background. I don't want to over reduce that. The consistency is perfect already. It smells delicious, smells really porky. So we're ready to plate. Again, like I'm not going to cut into this, but you can obviously slice it if you would like to. But we're going to take that all off in one. Really gently to the fat will sort of stick to the bottom. But that straight onto the plate. That's lovely how the sage is just sort of stuck to it. The salsa verde, that it will go so well with both the courgette for the vegetarian and equally the pork as well. Just sort of, it's really refreshing to have that on the same plate. But it is super strong, so just please be careful when putting that and including that into your meal as well, because it is super strong. And we'll go next to that bigger dollop of white onion. It's a little bit looser So obviously they're quite heavy in liquid. And then we'll tuck this nice and close, because again the star of the show. I'm just going to peel off the first layer. The reason being is because it can sometimes dry out. That hasn't actually, to be fair, but it can sometimes dry out a little bit. And then I'm just going to pop the broccoli into that, into all those pork juices, which are delicious. If you like me as well, you're more than welcome to pour those juices straight into the sauce to add a little bit more intenseness. It will also add a little bit more sort of barbecue flavour into it as well. But for the essence of this video, I'm just going to sauce the pork as is. If I was at home having this box, that's exactly what I'd do. And there we are. There's a delicious main course of grilled woolly or barbecued Woolly Park Farm pork chop with your sage onion, butter, grilled broccoli, pork fat onion, salsa verde, and white onion puree. Guys, enjoy that. I know I'm going to. And join us after that for your dessert. Wow, what a main course. Absolutely love that. Got the bone, got involved, absolutely delicious. Thought 12 minutes was perfect for this oven at 180, so hopefully it's the same with you guys. After the rest, it was so juicy, so soft, just yeah, really, really chuffed with that main course. Okay, so on to your dessert. Obviously same for everyone. One of my favourite sort of cakes, I would say. This is a delicious soaked, quite a smell, delicious soaked carrot cake, which was soaked in sort of I think it's an Italian dessert wine. So it is quite sort of nice and soft, and I wouldn't say soggy, but it has got a bit of moistness about it. So that's just simply into the microwave for 30 seconds. You got some fresh apricots with a potion of vanilla, cinnamon, and star anise sort of syrup. You'll then pass that off, and then you've got a lovely syrup in there. My syrups, I don't add too much sugar, so it's probably, if you're thinking like a real thick sort of glucose syrup, you won't get that with anything I cook, because I don't want to add too much sweetness. It's all about balance. In addition, apricots are quite tart, so we don't want a bit, but naturally sweet as well. So we don't want to be losing any of that flavour. So we always use 10%. So it's just 10% sugar in this liquid. That's it. So it's quite loose, but when you enjoy it with all the other components, the whipped cream cheese is super sweet. So the whole balance of the dish works really, really well together. So yeah, pop that into the microwave for 10 seconds. If you would like your syrup warm, just warm that very gently as well. But obviously with it being a bit of sugar, it will heat super, super hot, and you don't want it hot at all. You just want it sort of lukewarm. So room temperature is perfect. So pop that in the microwave for 30 seconds just to heat through. For the purpose of the video, I'm just going to pop it straight into the bowl. But again, at home, make sure you do. If you want your apricots warmed, obviously just warm your apricots as well. I'll move that out of the way. With your syrup, we will finish the plate with it, but again, you don't need to use it all. There's probably 2 portions here in mine actually. Just put a little bit in with the apricots, just to sort of, excuse the phone, just to sort of let that sort of rehydrate almost. Now I'd recommend just popping those nice and tightly to the carrot sponge, and then with that leftover liquid, pop those on top. And then if you would put like a little bit more, instead of vanilla seeds in there, pop that as well. But again, the cake's quite moist. Just a couple of spoons will be absolutely fine. Yeah, it's got that sort of tart, sort of apricot flavour, which is delicious. And then you'll have your frosting. Now, obviously, listen, everyone's had a carrot cake before. This is slightly different, but please make sure it's at room temperature and give it a really good stir, because if it's not at room temperature, guys, you literally won't get it on. Okay, so it's that nice big spoon. It looks sort of semi-split, but it's because of the ice and sugar that's in there, guys. And it's got a little bit of a texture as well. Pop that just to the side, on top of your apricots. Beautiful. And then that together will go absolutely deliciously. It'll feel quite nostalgic, taste quite nostalgic, but at the same point it'll be super refreshing as well with the apricots. So you've got a lovely steamed carrot sponge with you. Poached apricots, your vanilla cream cheese frosting, and your beautiful apricot and vanilla syrup that's just on the underneath of that. Again, add more or less as much as you would like to. And that concludes our 3-course box meal. I really hope you've enjoyed it this week, guys. Next week's menu is available. It's a stunning 12-ounce beef rump to share, which we've barbecued and marinated again in a beautiful paprika rub It's a bit like a sort of, it's almost got sort of kebab sort of flavour vibes, and a delicious duck spring roll for starter as well. So please book early. We've sold out. We've had to let a few people down this week, so please book nice and early to save disappointment. Otherwise, that is the end of this week for the Dine at Home. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe and enjoy, hopefully, some warmer weather coming soon. And that's it from me. Dine at home. Stay safe. See you next week.